So headed back home. Bad parenting day. Took Carter to see Deadpool. His 10th birthday. Maybe it's a little extreme for 10 years old, but he's a pretty mature 10, so it wasn't too bad. Gonna do this drive back. Of course, I have my camera bag with me, so I'm ready to shoot. And I think today is gonna be a macro day. It's beautiful outside. It's almost 60 degrees. It's sunny. The snow's melting. I can almost smell spring. So, yeah, let's do some macro shooting as soon as I get back home. See ya. I wasn't joking. Let's do some macro. It's like 60 degrees out. It's beautiful. So, for those who don't know me, I live in a small farming community in mid-Michigan. Very small town. You can tell the farming roots of the community by what is right next door to my home. So I'm gonna walk over to this place that I shoot at all the time, do some macro work, and on the way there we're gonna pass by a couple of people that are very important in this town, very important in my life. That would be my wife and my youngest son. My oldest is nowhere to be found. And the dog. Say hi. Going to the granary to shoot. Be back in a little bit. Stark silence. They're not camera friendly. Alright, so here we go. Let's turn the camera around so you can get an idea of where I'm going. Oh, and I'm filming with a camera that I prefer not to film with. And that is the EM1. And I prefer to not film with it for two reasons. Number one is I don't like being stuck at 30p. I like the look of 60. It's kind of that crazy ultra vivid, hyper stylized, realistic looking video. And the other thing I don't care for on filming with the EM1 specifically is the lack of the flip out monitor. There's about to be a cat fight in the distance. Can you hear them? Oh, there's the fight. That was rather anticlimactic. So let's go back to shooting. So as I mentioned before, small farming community, and right behind my property is this gigantic granary. That's where the local farmers drop off corn and soybeans. They're stored in the big grain bins, and it's actually like a spot I come to all the time. I'm constantly finding something new to photograph here. The owners are pretty cool about it. You know, they see me here all the time shooting, and I've spoken with the gentleman that actually owns it, and really good guy. So yeah, let's do some macro. I love shooting macro in places like this. You never know what you're gonna come across. So let's see what we can find. So what I'm shooting down there, I'm actually using the focus bracketing on the EM10 Mark II with the 60mm macro. It happens fast enough to where if you're really steady, you can get decent results handheld. Ideally, you want to use a tripod for this kind of shooting, and I did bring this little Manfrotto deal in here, and I'll probably use that from here on out, I think. So let me get that set up. Alright, so Manfrotto tripod set up. Time to explore a little bit more, see what we can find around here. Cool thing with macro is you don't really have to go even outside of your own home, to be honest with you, to find interesting things to shoot. Most people don't stop and think about macro as being an indoor thing. I've got a lot of macro shots that were taken inside, and I'm just showing you right here that you can pretty much just go right out your door and get cool stuff. So let me see what I can get into here. So I found my first insect of the year. It's a fly. It's February in Michigan. There's no business for flies around here. So he's tucked down into that little corner in there, and I'm shooting. I'll give you my settings here. I'm at f3.2. I want as much light as I can get, even though the sun's out. With macro, you know, you want to get good light on the subject. I'm not using flash, so I'm at f3.2. I might have an exposure comp set at -0.3. It's just to take a little bit of the edge off of the bright sunlight here. Focus bracketing, 10 exposures, and I think I have it set to the gradation of, or the focus stepping at 5. Yeah, so the focus differential is set at 5. I think that keeping it like right in the middle there at 5 gives you good coverage of your subject, especially if you're doing something with so few shots. Because it's not really super warm out, I think I'm going to try more shots of this fly. And the reason I'm mentioning the temperature is because when it is cooler out, insects tend to be a little more sedentary, I guess is the best way to put it. So he's sitting perfectly still for me, and I'm going to do one more at 15 versus 10. See if I can capture a little more depth on him. Wonderful. So there you go. Let's see what else we can find. Alright, keep exploring. So things I'm looking for are everyday items that you might not see up close or you wouldn't pay any attention to. You know, that could be anything that you would set down and discard and not even care about. Examples, I see things like the tab from a pop can. Those things up close, there's a lot of little detail in it from the process of manufacturing those. Bits of wire, areas that have rust on them. There's a lot of texture in those things. Boy, I don't even know. Wood grain, insects, plants, small plants, not like big things, but things with little tiny leaves. Great example is this right here. So we've got this utility line here, utility pole covered in lichens, this old telephone line that's not connected to anything wrapped around it, an old screw down here that has been enveloped in lichens. Stuff like that makes for really interesting subjects. So I'm going to set the camera down and shoot here for a few minutes, so sit tight. It's always an adventure with macro. Alright. Normally I don't shoot little tiny things here. Normally I shoot the big grain buildings behind me. So this is a completely different experience for me here. And I'm not disappointed. I'm finding all kinds of things to shoot. One of my favorite things to shoot here is this old train station. There's actually a murder mystery type novel written that's supposed to take place underneath this train station. Kind of interesting. So I'm gonna shoot here for a second. All kinds of little details here. Things like that hardware on the door. I think stuff like that makes for really cool macros. A lot of texture, interesting color, the patina on the metal. So I think I'm gonna shoot those few things right there and wrap it up and head home. I gotta put together this vlog after all. So see you in a bit. Time to wrap it up and head home.